According to the CDC, 1 in every 6 Americans gets sick from foodborne illnesses every single year. That's not just a number, it's millions of people. And the scariest part, most of them never see it coming. We often focus on calories or carbs, but have you ever paused to wonder what's really happening behind those swinging kitchen doors? This isn't some internet rumor or secondhand gossip. What you're about to hear comes straight from the mouths of former restaurant workers, people who saw everything from the inside, and what they revealed might make you lose your appetite entirely. In this video, we're pulling back the curtain on 7 popular restaurant chains where the meat on your plate might not be what you think it is. These aren't just isolated horror stories. They're patterns, confessions, and red flags that have been echoed again and again by people who've lived it. The chains on this list aren't obscure. They're trusted by millions. But once you find out what's really going on, you'll never look at them the same way again. Especially the first one. Because this isn't just about bad food. It's about betrayal. A betrayal of your trust, your money, and your health. Let's begin with one that markets itself as your neighborhood favorite. But what's happening in the kitchen might just ruin your appetite before the appetizer even hits the table. 7. Burger King. You know that smoky, flame-grilled scent that hits you as soon as you walk past a Burger King? It smells like a backyard barbecue, right? Like real fire, real meat, real flavor. But here's the thing. That mouth-watering smell might just be masking something way less appetizing. According to multiple former employees, what you're actually getting isn't fresh or fire-grilled. It's a frozen relic, sometimes sitting in storage for weeks before it ever touches heat. And by the time it does, most of the flavor's already gone. But the real shocker isn't the meat. It's the grill itself. Workers from different locations have described the grills as grease-coated time capsules. Built-up fat and meat drippings from previous days, and sometimes previous weeks, bubble up like some grotesque stew, mixing together flavors that were never meant to share the same bite. And if you think someone's scrubbing that down every night, think again. One former employee didn't hold back. They said, "That grill's seen more meat than a butcher and less soap than a frat house bathroom." Leftover scraps from old patties often stay stuck to the surface and get reheated right into your next burger. It might look flame-kissed on the outside, but take a bite, and you'll find burnt edges, cold middles, and a taste that falls somewhere between ashtray and stale cafeteria tray. One customer's viral review called it, "Smoking regret on a sesame bun." And honestly, that might be the most truthful thing anyone's ever said about it. What's worse is that even some of the people working there won't eat the meat. One confessed they'd rather eat the bun plain than trust what came out of the grill. Burger King sells nostalgia and flame-grilled tradition, but the reality is just shortcuts and smoke. Fast doesn't always mean fresh. And flame-grilled? Sometimes that's just code for reheated lies, dressed in sesame seeds and served with a smile. And now, things are about to get even more dramatic, because the next place brings your food out sizzling on a skillet like a culinary performance. But what's really hiding beneath that smoke and steam might leave you wondering if the show is just a cover for something much older. 6. Applebee's. You walk in expecting a fresh, juicy steak, hot off the grill. The sizzle, the smell, the comfort of a classic meal, right? But behind the scenes, reality tells a much different story. Multiple former employees have come forward with the same unsettling truth. That fresh grilled meat, it's often yanked out of a vacuum-sealed plastic bag where it may have been sitting for days. Not hours, days. And instead of hitting a real grill, it's tossed into a microwave. One ex-cook put it bluntly, "It's not cooking, it's reheating disappointment." What lands on your plate might look like steak, but it chews like rubber, has a strange processed aftertaste, and those suspicious grill marks? They're not from flames. They're often factory-pressed, made to trick your eyes into thinking it's the real deal. One disappointed customer posted a photo of their steak online with the caption, "Looks like it got stepped on and gave up." The image went viral, and once you see it, you'll understand why. It looked more like a tired, deflated pancake than anything that wants mood. This isn't nostalgia. It's not comfort food. It's a microwave delusion, dressed up in a paper-thin disguise. And at a time when every dollar matters, this isn't just a letdown. it's a waste. Not every item on that menu deserves your trust, especially when it's been vacuum packed, prepped, and nuked long before you ever took your seat. Ready for what's next? Let's move on to number 6, because if you thought that was bad, just wait until you hear what's hiding behind the golden crown. 5. Taco Bell. You know the craving. Late at night, you're tired, you're hungry, and Taco Bell is calling your name. It's cheap, it's fast, and it always hits the spot. But do you really know what's in that taco? According to Taco Bell's own disclosures, only 35% of their beef is actually meat. The rest? It's a mix of fillers, oats, soy protein, thickening agents, anti-caking powders, and a chemical called maltodextrin. That last one? It's used in sports supplements and some types of industrial glue. One former employee didn't sugarcoat it. They said, it looks like dog food paste when it comes out of the bag, wet, gray, barely edible until you drown it in sauce. And once you've seen that image, it's impossible to forget, no matter how much fire sauce you squirt on top. What you're eating isn't real beef. It's a laboratory blend engineered to cut costs while keeping the branding believable. The truth got so loud, Taco Bell was actually hit with a class action lawsuit for misleading customers. Their defense? The product technically qualifies as beef under federal guidelines. But let's be real. When a company starts using words like technically, it's time to put the burrito down. One food safety expert even said, if you listed out every ingredient in Taco Bell's beef, you wouldn't feed it to your dog. And yet millions eat it every day, completely unaware. Sure, it's flavorful, sure, it's cheap, but the money you're saving at the register might be paid back in discomfort, digestive distress, or worse. This isn't about demonizing fast food, it's about knowing the truth. Because when the line between affordable and irresponsible gets this blurry, you deserve to know what's really on your plate. And if you've made it this far, it means you care about what goes into your body. And that's exactly why this channel exists. So do yourself a favor, hit that like button, subscribe to Frugal Daily, and stay with us. We dig deep so your wallet stays full, your stomach stays safe, and the truth is always on the table. 4. Subway wants you to believe you're eating fresh. But what if I told you that fresh might just be the biggest illusion on the menu? Former employees have revealed that the meat you're biting into isn't grilled, roasted, or even made in-house. It arrives pre-cooked, vacuum-sealed, and so processed it could bounce like a rubber ball. That grilled chicken you ordered? It's often microwaved until it turns rubbery and limp, with a texture that's been compared to a toy more than a meal. One viral photo showed a slice of Subway's chicken that was so thin and see-through, someone commented, "I've seen erasers with more flavor and texture." Another joked it looked like something you'd pull out of a first aid kit, not a sandwich wrapper. But the real concern isn't just about the texture. Several insiders came forward with an even more disturbing claim. They were told to peel off expiration labels and replace them with newer-looking ones. One former worker described watching co-workers change dates on meat packages like they were resetting clocks, except these clocks were counting down to someone's stomachache. And no, this wasn't just one rogue location. These stories have popped up across the country, painting a clear pattern that's hard to ignore. So let's be honest. If that grilled chicken is already tasting more like plastic than protein, and the company is allegedly playing games with dates, what else are they willing to hide? Subway's whole brand is built on the promise of freshness, health, and quality. But what's really going on behind that glass counter tells a very different story. And if that made your stomach turn, buckle up. Because item number 4 took things so far, it actually ended up in court. This one involves lawsuits, science experiments disguised as food, and one of the most beloved late-night fast food stops in the country. 3. IHOP feels like the kind of place you can trust. Warm pancakes, sizzling bacon, golden hash browns. It's comfort food at its finest. Or so it seems. But according to multiple former employees, that cozy image falls apart fast once you see what's really going on behind the scenes. That bacon, those sausages, they're often not cooked fresh. Instead, they're pre-cooked in bulk, tossed in the fridge, and reheated when needed. Not on a skillet, not even on a griddle. We're talking microwaved meat disguised as a fresh breakfast. Think about that. You're paying sit-down restaurant prices for something that was nuked like a leftover. And it shows. The bacon often comes out limp and lifeless, missing that satisfying crunch. Sausages, soggy, gray, and is sometimes so glossy they look like they've been sweating inside a plastic box all night. One disappointed diner said, "I could have cooked a better breakfast at home, saved $14 and skipped the stomach ache." And honestly, they're not wrong. This isn't just about taste, it's about value. When you're paying $15 for a breakfast plate, you're not just buying food, you're trusting that food to be made with care. But when your meal's been microwaved from the fridge, that trust gets shattered. And for families trying to stretch every dollar, this isn't a minor letdown. It's a wake-up call. Because every meal should count. Not leave you wondering if your toaster oven could have done a better job. 2. Denny's proudly calls itself America's Diner, a place where breakfast is served all day and comfort food never clocks out. But when the sun goes down, things behind the counter can get disturbing. According to several former employees, it's the late night and overnight shifts where things really start to fall apart. That juicy-looking chicken on your plate? It was likely cooked hours ago, sometimes at the start of the evening shift, and left under heat lamps to slowly dry out like a forgotten rotisserie. The result? Food that's lost its life, texture, and flavor before it even gets to your fork. Chicken turns rubbery and flat, soaked in old fryer oil and neglect. One worker said they could tell how late it was just by the look of the meat. Curled edges, a greasy shine, and that hopeless, tired look like even the food had given up. But the worst part? It's still being served full price, with a smile, like everything's fine. And it's not just chicken. Burgers, sausages, even steak fall into the same routine. Cooked early, left to sit, served long past their prime. One customer nailed it when they said, "I paid for dinner, but I got leftovers that should have stayed in the trash." That review hit home because it wasn't just about the meal. It was about the experience. You come to a place like Denny's expecting warmth, a home-style plate, maybe even a moment of comfort. But what you get is corner-cut cooking wrapped in a diner menu that looks better than it tastes. When a restaurant built on comfort starts serving up apathy, that's not just disappointing, it's a betrayal. And in a time where every dollar matters, the least we deserve is food that was actually made for us, not reheated for the next in line. At some point, a restaurant stops being a diner and starts being just another disappointment. And that's what this video is really about. It's not about spending less, it's about spending smarter. Once you stop blindly trusting polished menus and start paying attention to the real stories, the ones shared by people who actually worked in those kitchens, everything changes. You make better choices. You protect your health, and you stop throwing your money at meals that only look good on the surface. So now, I want to hear from you. What restaurant meat turned you off for good? What dish made you say, "never again"? Drop it in the comments, because your story might help someone else dodge a regret-filled dinner. And hey, if this video opened your eyes, don't stop here. Check out our next investigation. Never shop at these grocery stores in America. Here's why. We dig into the well-known chains that might be costing you more than you realize. Not just in dollars, but in quality, trust, and safety. Some of these names are in every neighborhood, but what we found could change how you shop forever. So stay smart, stay frugal, and I'll see you in that next deep dive.